everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is NurseVlog again, and for today's vlog guys, we'll be talking about the differences of working as a nurse in Saudi Arabia and here in Ireland. And by the way, if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button below and also hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So it's been a while guys, I haven't uploaded an informative video about my nursing career here in Ireland because the past few weeks I was on leave and I went in the west of Ireland and we enjoyed our staycation experience there with my partner. So this will be the first video for this month about my nursing career. And if you're a nurse who is planning to work here in Ireland or maybe still planning to go somewhere outside of Philippines, and if you're interested, just continue watching. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. And by the way, you might be wondering why I created this vlog. Just to let you know guys, I've worked in Saudi Arabia for 4 years as an IC nurse, and I'm currently working now as a registered general nurse here in Ireland. And just a disclaimer guys, I created this video not to discourage my fellow nurses to work in Saudi Arabia or to work here in Ireland. So I created this video to give you the ideas, what's the differences and similarities when it comes to working environment and living environment. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed my stay in Saudi Arabia and I was grateful for my hospital experience and for meeting different people and new friends, and it really helped me grow in my career. Alright guys, so let's start with our topics for today. So let's start with the application process. So what is the difference in your application when you apply as a nurse to Saudi Arabia and Ireland? So way back 2011 guys, I started my application to Saudi Arabia. So the requirements that they asked for me are my PRC license. You need to have a valid PRC license as a registered nurse in the Philippines. And number 2, you need to have at least 2 years of hospital experience. And lastly, you need to pass the Saudi pre-metric exam. So that's your licensure examination to become a registered nurse in Saudi Arabia. So those were the 3 requirements that I had to secure during my application process guys to Saudi Arabia. And here in Ireland, so the requirements are you need to have a valid PRC license as well. In number 2, you only need to have at least 12 months of hospital experience. So that's the difference guys. And in addition to that, you need to pass the English proficiency exam. So you should be an IELTS passer or an OET passer. And number 2 guys, the deployment process. So in Saudi Arabia, like during my application, the airline tickets that was shouldered by my employer. So it's a round-trip airline ticket. So initially you will have a 2-year contract and they provided free tickets on my way to Saudi Arabia and my way back home. But it depends on your agency guys, because some hospitals in Saudi Arabia, especially public hospitals, like they have like every year annual leave and it's shouldered by the company. So I'm just talking about my experience guys in my previous employment. And in Ireland guys, last year, so my airline ticket was shouldered by my company. And number 3 guys is the accommodation. So in Saudi Arabia, it's free accommodation for all the staff nurses, especially if you're single. So that's not a problem. But here in Ireland, if you just join the hospital that you'll be working, so you will have 1 month free accommodation. So you'll be given money to pay for your 1 month accommodation. And after that, you have to pay by yourself. So that's a difference guys. And number 4 is the transportation. So based on my experience when I was in Saudi Arabia, so we have buses that will collect us from the accommodation to the hospital and it's free. But here in Ireland guys, you need to pay for your transportation. You can take the bus, you can take the taxi, or you can get your own car, but it's all your expenses. So that's a difference guys. Alright guys, and let's talk about the working and living environment. So in Saudi Arabia, I know, and you're all aware that Saudi Arabia is a conservative country, so they have laws and restrictions to follow. Especially if you're an overseas worker, so you need to adhere to policies in the country. Alright, so for me, in my experience, so as a foreign worker there, so in Saudi Arabia guys, based on my experience, I remember it's still fresh in my mind. Like the living environment is a bit hard for me because I'm single and I live in an accommodation with my fellow staff nurses, and the problem was we had restrictions and limitations at the time. So we can't go out anytime we want, so we have scheduled trips to go for shopping and to go to the shops. So it was really hard, and if you really want to go somewhere, especially if you're on leave or we only have limitations to go somewhere. And we have bus trips, we have shopping trips every week, and we can go to the mall like every month, so it's only once a month. And we have a bus and one security guard, that will facilitate us while going for shopping. You need to unwind. If you have a couple, that will sponsor you so you can go. But if you don't have, you have to stay at accommodation. And the only problem there is that sometimes, you feel homesick. You also need to go out, but the problem was you can't. So the freedom was limited, but it's not in a negative way. But because Saudi Arabia is a conservative country, so that's understandable. And yeah, I survived for 4 years because the main reason why I went there is to have a good experience, and of course to be able to save money for my dreams to work somewhere in the Western world. So that's the point there. But I'm still grateful, and I've met a lot of friends there, and our friends, and even other nationalities, so I can't forget them. They're part of my life there in Saudi Arabia. And here in Ireland, on the other hand guys, it's an open country, so you can go anytime you want. You can go to the shops, you can travel outside Dublin, or you can even travel outside Ireland. So that's the advantage of working here in this country. And working environment, so it's the same. Like you'll be dealing with different teams and with different members of the multidisciplinary team. It's not just Arabs alone. You'll be dealing with different nationalities, so it's just the same here in Ireland guys. So every unit you'll be dealing with different people. Talk about a working shift. So in Saudi Arabia I worked 12-hour shift, so it's the same here in Ireland guys. It's also a 12-hour shift. So I work in a public hospital here, so I'm not so sure what's the shift like in private sector. Okay, and let's talk about salary. So I know that salary is very important, so that's always the first thing that we need to check and ask, especially if we're applying to work somewhere. Is it really worth it to stay here in our country or to leave for a greener pasture? So in Saudi Arabia guys, the salary was not as big as the salary here in Ireland. So I started working as a staff nurse in a medical surgical unit that time. That was in 2011, so I still had fresh hospital experience. So I started with a salary of 2,800 Saudi riyals, but it was not that big. But there was no tax guys, so it's not taxed, so you will get the same amount during your payday. But here in Ireland, so I worked in a government sector, so my salary is according to my hospital experience. So here in Ireland, the public sector, you'll be paid according to salary grade. But the only difference is you need to pay tax. So the salary here guys is taxed. Okay, and especially for a single worker like me, so my tax is 40%, so it's really big. And you also need to pay mandatory government contributions. You need to pay your pension, and you need to pay the universal service charge, and you need to pay the PRSI, that's for the social welfare benefits. So there's a lot of payments that you need to do, and of course you need to pay your bills here. You need to pay your electricity, your gas, and you also need to pay for your groceries every week. And like in Saudi Arabia, there's no bills to pay, electricity is shouldered by your employer, and yes, you have to pay for your groceries, but some hospital in Saudi Arabia, they're giving free food allowance to the nurses. So that's a difference. There's no negative here because you always make your choice. Like, I made a choice to work first in Saudi Arabia so I can save money because the application was not as expensive as the application here in Ireland. Alright guys, so I think that's all for today's vlog, and I hope I was able to give you some information, the differences and similarities of working as a nurse in Saudi Arabia and here in Ireland. So I know that this time is not yet the perfect time to pursue whatever your plans to work somewhere outside the Philippines because of the pandemic, but hopefully this will be over soon. And just a shout out to my fellow frontliner, to Sir Bile Fontanilla. I know you're almost there, you're just waiting for something, and hopefully I'll see you soon here in Ireland, and hopefully this pandemic could be over soon. Thank you so much guys for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please click the notification bell as well so you will be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much and keep safe everyone. I'll see you in my next vlog.